was I?
Fear not, visitor. It's easy to lose one's head when in the presence of greatness. But remember, I was once a humble citizen like yourself. Then the world shook. A forgotten evil made its return, and the world as we knew it was thrust into turmoil. The people cried out for a hero, a savior. The divines answered their prayers by bestowing a single mortal with a gift. That mortal was me. But for a season ago, I was a humble fisherman. Now I am Two-Tails, first hero of the Fourth Era. DWARVENBORN! Dragons! Unthinkable. The dragons have been... What is dead can never be revived. No, the ancient evil I speak of as dwarves returned from the land that time forgot to enslave mortals to work in their underground mines. Or, more specifically, a dwarf, Mazanuk, the God Eater. He returns with his army of mechanical spiders and centurions to win the day itself. Your worst enemy and your best friend, as you are nothing but a dog to him. And like a good doggy, he's going to make you fetch dirt, then bring it to the surface while his army of centurions flog you with brass whips. Mazanuk aims to devour the gods, at least the ones that live underground, and in doing so, propel our world into chaos. But as it is written in the Histbark and inscribed in the assortment of spoons I keep in my pocket, all is not lost. For there is one that even the mad dwarf and his legion of machines fear. In their tongue, I am known as Thuamerdzin, DWARVENBORN. I was fishing near the coast of Nibben Bay in Cyrodiil when I saw a bearded mage standing by the bank. In his hand was the ugliest fishing staff I had ever seen, but when he raised it to the sky, a massive island rose right out of the water. On it were rocks, chiseled into the shape of dwarven heads, only they weren't rocks, but cheese. Then, waving the staff around some more, he conjured 3 beggars to eat away at the cheese rocks, from its mustache down to its chin. Their efforts revealed a secret portal, a gateway to the Dwemer homeworld. Curious, I followed him into the bay. I swam, he walked. I trailed him to the edge of the shoreline, just as he was about to enter the portal. Then he stopped and turned in my direction. I was hiding behind some brush, but I could have sworn he winked at me. Turns out there was just something in his eye, specifically the arrow face for winking at me. To catch slaughterfish without a proper bow, or staff for that matter. Now I had both. In fact, I could have to catch twice as many fish if I were a fisherman and not the one true savior of Skyrim. But first, I needed to step through that portal, which I had no problem doing. I didn't kill a man and 3 beggars to catch more salmon. As Dwarvenborn, I possess what is known as the machine hand. Simply by placing my palms on a device, I can disable it permanently. I am now on a great quest to place my hands upon as many dwarven machinations as possible, so that I may render the God Eater's army inert. It doesn't matter if it's a broken spider or fully operational Centurion. One touch from my machine hand, and no smith can repair it. You do realize every machine you raise from its slumber is another garrison for the armies of Mazanuk, don't you? Every innocent that dies as a result is someone you've killed, which makes you a murderer, not the good kind either. You know, the kind of murderer that's rich and attractive and has their own veins. In Skyrim, they call these murderers Jarls. You, on the other hand, would just be another killer. They say he was a gifted dwarf, blessed with the ability to craft, repair, and if need be, marry machines, simply by touching them. Some even say he learned the way of the voice, that he could direct his spiders to sweep the floors by issuing a simple 3-word command. Something like broom floor sweep, or beep boop bop, or insert tube here. You know, common phrases of the machine tongue. Then, one day, while renovating an old cave, he came across a magic scroll written inside a tube of fungus. Inside was a 100,000-year-old prophecy, one that foretold what already happened 75,000 years ago, at the dawn of time. It told of the age of the soup people, who flowed through the underground rivers of Nirn like hard, creamy magma, and were extremely delicious. It warned of a day in the distant past when the soup would turn cold, so cold it congealed. These jelly blobs and their scabs would be the early beginnings of man and beast. The same way a beast of the wild attracts a mate. Musk, smell, aroma. The kind that will drive mortals to action. Not all of those actions are necessarily good. Some are, and some are pretty much perfect. I'm that some. Only what the gods foretold. They say Mazanuk will come from the west, charging down a mountain, led by an avalanche of metal boulders, spheres. Behind them will be the mad dwarf himself, riding in a steam-powered war carriage, pulled along by dwarven mammoths. They say when Mazanuk makes his charge, the ore veins across Skyrim will melt, and the rivers will run bright with metal. Only possesses the power to stop him. From here in the Eyrie, I can watch for his descent, as well as create a strategic barrier to protect myself from his spies. It's the only place that's completely safe. Mazanuk has his spiders everywhere, hiding in the dirt like eight-legged mud crabs. They're out there right now, burrowed in the mud, not 40 paces from where we stand, using the grass and the weeds like an insect's antenna. Only these antennae aren't like the kind you find on a bug. No, attached at the end are magical listening spheres, painted white to look like flowers. Cotton balls,